your place. Eat locally, enjoy casually.
Stood at the pinnacle of curling and battled in the most intense games.
Out on the ice, there's no room for compromise.
And when the pressure's on,
every millimeter counts.
It's not just a game.
It's about maximizing performance,
Pushing limits.
Seizing victory.
when victory hangs in the balance,
I know what I'm relying on.
It's a gold line.
It's a gold line.
It's a gold line.
And it's the choice of champions.
And you conquered another game. A long day. A job well done. Enjoy casually.
Stood at the pinnacle of curling and battled in the most intense games.
Out on the ice, there's no room for compromise.
and when the pressure's on,
Every millimeter counts.
It's not just a game.
It's about maximizing performance,
Pushing limits.
Seizing victory.
when victory hangs in the balance,
I know what I'm relying on.
It's a gold line.
It's a gold line.
It's a gold line.
And it's the choice of champions.
When it comes to the game we love, having the right gear makes all the difference.
Gold Line's new curling shoes and brooms are a game changer.
The shoes, unbelievably comfortable.
And the brooms, lightweight and effective, giving you control on every sweep.
When I step onto the ice, I'm not just prepared, I look sharp.
Have you seen these shoes? They are a game changer.
And the brooms, light as a feather.
It's a gold line.
It's a Gold Line.
It's a gold line.
And is the choice of champions.
It has happened where people just haven't noticed and they've run out of time. I'm like, sounds good. Oh, overcooked it a bit. Jeez.
Clean! Keep going, keep going! Keep going! Keep going! Keep going! Keep going! Keep going! Keep going!
Minus 1,000 flash will win apres curl.
Oh, they're really sweeping this, boys.
They're
really sweeping this. Oh, boy, you can't give up a steal here.
Oh, perfect.
Okay, nice shot from Caitlin.
Here we go, it's happening.
Yeah, draw for the win for Rylan Kleider. Needs a piece of the forefoot. He's been really good all game. Trevor Johnson on this one here.
Can't hear yet for line ever.
No,
Oh,
they
line's
like
good.
line. Now does it have the speed? They like the line. Does it have the speed? They're going hard for line. You have to get by this top yellow. Trevor Johnson leaning on it. He's by it. Now does it stop in time? Has to stop in time. What a shot from Ryland Kleider. We thought it was maybe the hardest option up from the booth, but that's why we're not down there.
A long day. A job. Eat locally, enjoy casually.
Stood at the pinnacle of curling and battled in the most intense games.
Out on the ice, there's no room for compromise.
And when the pressure's on,
Every millimeter counts.
It's not just a game.
It's about maximizing performance,
Pushing limits.
Seizing victory.
when victory hangs in the balance,
I know what I'm relying on.
It's a gold line.
It's a gold line.
It's a gold line.
And it's the choice of champions.
Last drop. Yep. 8-10. Well, yep. Is it Wrana?
Dan?
Section 103. We want everyone to bring their ugly sticks, their best kitchen party fashions for a pre-game sing-along and party. The best outfits and ugly sticks will win prizes, including a Team Gushu jersey. That's tomorrow night, so keep that in mind. But we came for curling today, so let's meet the teams in draw 7, starting on sheet B. First up, throwing the Red Rocks, coming in with a 1-0 record. Curling out of Cortina down Pezzo, Italy with an 0-1 record. Team Constantini. Their opponents for the Yellow Rocks, coming in with an 0-1 record. From Sandberg, Sweden, Team Wrana. And on sheet C, first up, throwing the Red Rocks, curling out of Kinley, Manitoba, Canada, Team Anderson. Their opponents from the Yellow Rocks, coming in with an 0-1 record. From Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada,
Yeah, just like, are you...
First up, throwing the Yellow Rocks with a 1-0 record, curling in a Bantam, Korea.
Back to continuing coverage of the Coyote National here, the third event of the Grand Slam of Curling season, live from the Mary Brown Center in St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador. John Cullen here with you, going free solo mode, as this is the first time we are bringing 2 draws to you on the Home Team Live coverage with commentary. My esteemed colleagues Tyler George and Brent Lang are over on the Brad Gushue and Reed Carruthers game, but me, I am here calling some women's action this afternoon. It is Team Isabella Wrana up against Team Stefania Constantini. A battle of 2 0-1 teams, and Brad Gushue is about to get a standing ovation here in the Mary Brown Center. So Let's just sit back and enjoy that for a second. So here we go, as I said, an important matchup here, the second game the second game of the event for both of these teams. And you saw the lineup cards earlier, so I'll fill you in on the team lineups here today. And this is the same lineup for the team from Cortina d'Ampezzo, Italy, that we saw last night. Marta Lodeserto on the bench, Stefania Constantini at skip, Giulia Zardini Lacidelli playing third, Elena Mathis playing second, and Angela Romay at lead. And out of Sundbyberg, Sweden, it is team Isabella Wrana with their traditional lineup. You have Isabella Wrana at skip, Almida Deval at third, Maria Larsson at second, and Linda Stenlund at lead. So it will be Team Constantini starting with the hammer here in end number one. Linda Stenlund going to get the game started for the Swedes, who have, I would say, over the last few events, endeared themselves to the Grand Slam of curling fans in Nisku. We did a really fun feature at the West Edmonton Mall, had a great day there, visiting the theme park and go-karting and doing lots of fun stuff there. And then, as of course we saw, they were the Grand Slam of karaoke champions, wresting the belt away from Stefania Constantini's countrymate, Mattia Giovanella. So they are the current Grand Slam of karaoke champions, and I believe will be defending their belt here in St. John's on Saturday night. Every night here in St. John's is going to be rocking at the Après Curl. It's at the St. John's Convention Center, which is just across the street from Mary Brown's. Should be a huge party every night, and looking forward to the shows every night. But of course, Saturday, the Grand Slam of karaoke should be a blast. So we see the center guard up for Team Wrana, and for Angela Romay, a draw around it. I think it over-curled slightly, but we see Team Wrana ignore that. Come around everything here. So a draw around everything for Linda Stenlund, and I believe it does stop in time to be shot. So the draw around made for Angela Romay, and it does look like Maria Larsson is going to be trying to run this Yellowstone back onto the Reds in the house. And how about that from Maria Larsson? What a shot. Gets rid of both reds and leaves the 2 yellows behind cover. Phenomenal shot. This Isabella Wrana team, very experienced at the junior level. They have multiple junior championship medals. The Isabella, Almeida, and Maria winning in 2017 and silver in 2018. Isabella and Almeida also World University champions back in 2019. And as we know, Isabella Wrana also the reigning World Mixed Doubles champion with her brother Rasmus. So hit and roll into the open for Elena Mathis. And we watched this team Constantini on stream last night as well, and they definitely had a tough one. It was a real strange game between them and Sungyun Ha. Ha winning that one 11-8. There were 2 fours scored, one by Ha, or sorry, one by Constantini. Yeah, one by Constantini, one by Ha. Ha also had a steal of 3 in the first end. It seemed like for Team Constantini, it was maybe a bit of fighting off the jet lag and the long week at the European Championships. We talked about that last night. The Euros were in Lohja, Finland, just outside of Helsinki, kind of buried in the forest there, and it was a long flight. The Euros did not end until Saturday. Practice started here on Monday for the team, so there's a lot of travel involved for all of these teams. I mean, for Team Wrana, they also would have had to deal with some jet lag coming over from Sweden, but didn't have a week and a half of curling at the Euros before that. So a nice little hit and roll in there, and it does look like actually oh no, sorry. I thought for a second we had a lineup change from last night, but I forgot that Team Constantini has the hammer here, so Elena Mathis is indeed throwing second as she was last night. Elena Mathis we saw throwing third earlier in the tournament, or sorry, earlier in the season. When we covered them at the Tour Challenge and the Co-op Canadian Open, she was in the 3rd spot. So our first look at Almeida Duval here. And for Team Wrana, I think the key here is just to continue to lie 2. You don't want to roll out, and unfortunately, Almeida does. So you could see Constantini draw around here if they wanted to get really aggressive, but you can see from that angle there, that rock's probably about half open from the hack for Giulia Zardini-Lacidelli. Wow, that will rack the guard. Saw Giulia struggle a little bit last night as well, and unfortunately that will roll completely out of play. The one thing that might have worked in their favor is if they had caught a little bit more of that center guard and rolled that into the house. I think we almost certainly would have seen Team Wrana hit that. But because they elected not to, or sorry, because the rock didn't stop in the house, rather, they can now draw around everything and maybe set up a steal. That center guard is quite high, just on top of that Coyote logo there. It's not a great guard with which to steal around, but certainly they can lie 2 here. See, Isabella wants this just on that Grand Slam of Curling script right at the top of the house, and that's pretty much where Almeida puts it. So Team Wrana lying 2 here. So it's a run back here for Giulia Zardini, and unfortunately just runs that Yellowstone back by the one in the back 4. And so that was really the worst case scenario, I think, for Team Constantini. The only positive is that it raised the yellow rock out of the 4-foot, or rather moved where the shot stone is above the 4-foot, but leaving both yellows in the house and leaving that red center guard up. This is starting to turn into a very good steal opportunity here for Team Wrana. Team Wrana coming off a very disappointing loss last night to Team Unjung Kim. They were in control in the 6th end. Isabella was hitting on her last one to lie 3, which would have forced Kim to 1 and would have made the game a tie. But unfortunately, would have only made it a 1-point lead for Team Kim. But unfortunately for Isabella, she came a little bit wide and actually ran the single Kim stone in the house onto one of her own, which left Unjung Kim with an open hit for 3, and that was pretty much the game from there. So they'll be looking to bounce back today. Both these teams, as I said, at 0-1, and at a slam, if you fall to 0-2, it makes the remainder of your games a must-win, and then generally speaking from there, you also need some help with your last stone draw to get into a tiebreak. So a big win here for both of these teams, a big afternoon, and it's a basically sold-out crowd here in the Mary Brown Center, and that's not to be too surprising given that Brad Gushue is playing right now, and you will probably hear periodic bursts of applause, and you can just know that that's what's happening when that happens. So just like last night, Stefania Constantini gave up a steal of 3 in the first end to Sung Yoon Ha and is now facing 3 Team Wrana counters here and is attempting to run this red back into the house. This is a critical shot here. Elena Mathis is on this right out of the hand to make it curl, and she's going to run everything by. And this is really, once again, an absolute nightmare start for the Italians. So these are always really fun shots where you just talk about how badly you want to twist the knife on your opponent. Isabella prolonging things. So her initial call was to put just kind of another one like top 12 right in front of those 3 yellows. But I think now she's talking about maybe putting one on the draw path on the outturn side for Stefania. Because I think even if you come, her original call, if you come into the top 12 and you just sort of guard that yellow stone, it does give Stefania an out. She would have a draw to the pin for 1, and even if she misses the draw to the pin, she's probably going to be pretty close and is going to only give you a steal of 1. I know that that's an interesting phrase to say, but I think the call here, they're calling just to kind of tap this back and sort of sit right there, and then that would make it so that Stefania has no way into the button, and you're almost guaranteed a steal of 1, and it might be even more, depending. So. So after some deliberation, Team Wrana electing to play a small tap here on this yellow stone, her final stone here in end number 1. Looking to just tap this one up to the 4-foot, cut off the button from both sides. Maria Larsson trying to bring this one over here. You don't want to leave it open. And unfortunately, just a little too heavy from Isabella, and this is actually going to give Stefania a pretty easy out here. She's got a hit and roll, and she's got a catcher on that Yellowstone that's on the button. So if you're Team Wrana, you certainly would have taken a force in the first end if you could, but given how this end had played out, you'd be a little disappointed not to steal here. And again, I think if she just has a little bit better weight, so get a good view of just me sitting alone here in my coat on the empty chair behind me. But yeah, it's just that little bit less weight would have not only kept that Yellowstone in front of the tee line, but it also would have made the rock curl a little bit more. So just, yeah, a little unfortunate there for Isabella. So final stone here for Stefania Constantini. Needs a hit and a little inside roll for one. Elena Mathis picking this up right out of the hand. There is a hole here. You could go through the hole. Elena Mathis trying to hold this. Will it hang on? Yes, it will. So very nice shot there from Stefania Constantini. And that cheer you're hearing is not for Stefania, but rather because Brad Guju correctly surmised that one of Reed Carruthers' stones was outside of the rings. But Stefania will take the applause. No matter what, we'll be back right after this.
This is the Cornwall Curling Club. It's my home club. I started curling here when I was 7 years old. I decided to stick with curling because I really enjoyed the small team environment. I curled with the same girls from the time I was 9, basically until the end of juniors. So getting to form those friendships with my teammates was really special to me.
I started curling because of my grandparents, and both my parents curled and my brother, so it was just like a whole family thing. And when you walk into the curling club in Truro, Nova Scotia, and everyone greets you, and it's such a warm environment, and it's fun. After school, we'd go, and all of our friends would be there, so it was just like such a fun environment. And I got to curl with some of my closest friends growing up, so it really helped me keep in the game, and we all had the same goals.
I know what curling has done for our family, the opportunities it provided for both my girls. Nationally, you know, we've got to see travel the world. It's just a great sport. It's a small community, people, you know, at all levels. Everybody knows each other. It's kind of a unique sport that way.
It's a sport that enables him to build his confidence and to make friends while doing something that he really enjoys.
Right now, at the age that they're at, it's just awesome to see when they come here and they see their friends at the curling club and the stuff they do off the ice too, and smiles and hanging out and just enjoying their time with friends.
A force in the first end for Isabella Wrana, but was maybe not the result that they had been hoping for, as they were set up really well for a steal. Stefania Constantini having to make a hit against 4, but she did indeed make it, so it is 1-0. Constantini leads. We get our first look here at Isabella Wrana with the hammer, and interestingly enough, they have decided to hit the rock in the house. So we'll see if this is a delayed corner or if they're actually wanting to blank this entire end. We'll see what happens here after this Angela Romay stone. John Cullen with you, going free solo mode here at the Coyote National. Thank you for joining us here on Home Team Live. We have coverage of all 4 games out here this afternoon. We have Sung Yoon Ha against Eunjun Kim. Carrie Anerson against Chelsea Carey. And the game that most of the fans are here to see, Reed Carruthers against Brad Guju. That Carruthers and Guju game being commentated as well. My esteemed colleagues Tyler George and Brent Lang on the call for that one, and I'm with you here. And so indeed it is a delayed corner. I don't know if that was always the plan or if it was because Angela Romay Stone had rolled off of the forefoot. But yeah, all 4 of those games streaming here on Home Team Live. We'll be here with you all weekend long. As per usual, Sportsnet will also be joining us tomorrow for their TV coverage. It's going to be a great rest of the week. It's already been a great day and a half here in St. John's, and there's no doubt that will continue as we move along here. So the corner guard up for Linda Stenlund. So the draw coming up a little bit short there for Elena. And this kind of sets up a chance for a hit and roll for Maria Larsson. Brendan Botcher getting a warm welcome from the St. John's faithful, in case you were worried that he was maybe not going to be accepted as the new member of the squad. So the roll doesn't quite come off for Maria there. And a chance to roll back now for Elena Mathis. That's a really well executed roll from Elena. Did not have her best game last night, but she looks great so far here today. And now we're going to see the run back out of Maria. She made that amazing run back last end. And unfortunately won't get the run back. And so it is Constantini lying one without hammer. And unfortunately for Larsson there, it just rolls a little bit off the center line. And so if Constantini can get a center guard up here, it's going to be quite the wall. And a nice shot there from Zardini Lacidelli. And we'll see if Almeida Duvall can make the run here. And a great shot there from Almeida Duvall. This Swedish team has been very good with the up weight. They all have it in their locker. Larsson and Duvall and Wrana all can really huck it. And when you have all three teammates that can do that, it's something you can practice a lot more, and you get a lot more used to the icing, and just had the broom in the perfect spot there. So no rocks in the house, but three guards up. We'll see if Julia can come around them here. So the draw made, but not maybe as deep as they necessarily would have liked. You wouldn't want to go too deep there. Like, that's definitely better than being on the tee line or better. Just might leave the chase around everything here. Or sorry, not the chase, the draw around everything. The chase is also certainly there. If you wanted it, I think Isabella would just be nervous that if you go after the chase and you don't really roll onto the rings, then Stefania just ignores everything and comes around, and your rock behind the corner guards wouldn't matter very much. So we are going to see Almeida Duvall try to draw around everything here. And that big cheer you heard there was not for a Brad Gujou make, but rather for a Caitlin Schneider miss, which you don't often see in curling, but this St. John's crowd is ruthless. So for Almeida Duval on our feature sheet here, just unfortunately a little heavy and also makes contact with that red, but they are shot stone. You can see from that camera angle there, though, it is wide open for Constantini. If she could make the hit and roll behind here, the pressure will get ratcheted up a little bit here on Wrana. First rock for Stefania Constantini here in end number 2. Looking for a hit and roll. Throwing quite a bit of weight at this here to navigate that port, and navigate it she does, but won't get any roll. So this does leave a bit of an opening here for Isabella Wrana. So you can see there, great camera angle. It is wide open for Wrana, and there is room to roll, no question about it. We saw Constantini throw quite a bit of weight. Like I said, sometimes skips do that to just prefer getting it through the hole. It kind of takes some of the guesswork out of play, but it does make it so that the sweepers are kind of taken out of it. You don't necessarily get a chance to control the roll. And indeed, we see Isabella throwing a little less weight here. Linda Stenlund, though, picking this up right out of the hand. You cannot afford to rack here. And that's no rack, but maybe a bit of an overroll. I'm not sure if Stefania can see that from the hack. I'm going to guess by their shot call she cannot. If you had any room to make that, oh yeah, there we go. That's dead buried. The only thing for Isabella is it did roll a little further than she would have liked. Would have liked to be almost directly behind that red one. And the reason for that is that this just gives Stefania a little bit more room to get this draw in there. It's not easy. We haven't seen a draw necessarily down this path. Julia had taken the other turn, the out turn, where her redstone ended up at the top of the house. So it's not going to be a total guess. Obviously, this is the second game for these teams, and they would have had practice and feel fairly sure where this broom needs to go. But this is a shot that has to be made here. Otherwise, could be looking at giving up 2. So last rock here for Stefania Constantini, end number 2. This looks a little heavy, maybe. They got to sweep to get it by this top red. But now will it stop in time? Will it stop in time? No, it will not. So even with, I think it did get a tiny kiss off that red in the top 12. Even with that, just a little bit too much weight there from Stefania Constantini. And this is an open draw to the 4-foot for 2. So final stone, Isabella Wrana needs a piece of the forefoot for 2. Maria Larsson trying to bring this off the corner guard. It will rack the corner guard and will not get to the forefoot. So I think the weight was close, but unfortunately could not find her way through that port. It proved to be tricky for both skips. The Swedes will settle for 1. We'll be back.
When you've conquered another game, a long day, a job well done, and the final work call, we're your place. Enjoy casual.
I've stood at the pinnacle of curling and battled in the most intense games.
Out on the ice, there's no room for compromise.
And when the pressure's on,
every millimeter counts.
It's not just a game.
It's about maximizing performance,
pushing limits,
seizing victory.
When victory hangs in the balance,
I know what I'm relying on.
It's a gold line.
It's a gold line.
It's a gold line.
And it's the choice of champions.
Looking like a sure steal, and then in that end had an open draw for 2. Or I mean, it was a tough draw through a port, but certainly a makeable shot, and had probably the right weight, but just not the right line. And really, it's been kind of one of those years for Isabella Wrana. I know I talked to them quite a bit, obviously, when they were in Nisku. We spent 5 hours together at the West Edmonton Mall, had a lot of time to chat about their season, and I know for them, it's just, you know, they're the world number 9. They're firmly entrenched in the slams, and you know we'll see them in Guelph. We'll almost certainly see them in the Players' Championship as well. They're one of the best teams on tour still, but just this year I know has not been exactly what they had hoped for. Isabella was telling me, and also told us on the Broom Brothers podcast as well, that you know they just need some time to get things in order. It hasn't felt like they've really ever had their best game this year, and that's been sort of reflected in the results. They've qualified in almost everything. They have only had DNQs at the Oslo Cup and the Co-op Canadian Open. Otherwise, they've made the playoffs and everything, but just haven't been able to break through. They haven't made it past a semifinal. They were in the semifinals at the Savile Grand Prix and the Stu Cells Toronto, but haven't been able to make a final yet, and they also lost the European Championships qualifier 4-0 to Team Hasselborg. And you know, with how evenly matched those two teams are, you typically see at least a couple wins for whichever team loses. But unfortunately for Isabella, couldn't even get a single win against Hasselborg there. So we'll see if they can figure out exactly how to get themselves back in it, but this is a really good start for them here. Linda Stenlund with a beautiful draw around that center guard. So they lie 1 without the hammer, and that applause that you heard in the background there, Brad Guzzu has an open draw for 3. He just needs to hit paint, and it wasn't for a made draw, that applause. It was literally just for him coming down to the hack to get ready to throw the stone. So you heard Brad say yesterday to John Brazo, our in-house reporter here at the Grand Slams, that he almost got emotional in the introductions, as this one unfortunately is going to go right by everything for Angela Romay. But the crowd is going wild. The draw's not even in the house yet. They're going nuts, and guess how many they scored? It's 3. But yeah, you heard Brad yesterday talk about how he actually got emotional in the opening. He got a standing ovation, just as he did today in the intro. And they haven't been back in the Mary Brown Center since 2017 when they won that Brier. There has been some slams in Newfoundland since then. Conception Bay South had one back in 2018, but it's been a while since he's been able to play on, or 2019 rather. It's been a while since he's been able to play on home soil, and obviously relishing that opportunity, and was maybe a little blown away by just how big the reaction was yesterday. So 6,750 seats here at the Mary Brown Center. Almost all of them are full here for this women's second draw between Isabella Wrana and Stefania Constantini. And this is a chance now for the Swedes to lie two, and Maria Larsson getting maybe a little bit lucky there. I don't think was trying the double, but you got to be good to be lucky, and that was a case of getting just close enough to get that double and remove any chance of that Constantini hanger-on counting. So it is Wrana lying two without the hammer here. Angela Romay on this one right out of the hand. I think this is light and tight for Elena Mathis, and this is not great considering how good that Yellowstone is in the house. That Linda Stenlund draw is absolutely perfect right on the top of the pin, and so with that one coming short, staggered guards now, this is again starting to look like a really rough situation for Team Constantini without the hammer. They have struggled without it all week long here so far. For this Constantini team, they have made one final. It was all the way back in early September at the Euro Super Series in Stirling. They lost that final to Faye Henderson, the up-and-coming young Scottish women's team, but they're similar to Isabella Wrana, not amazing results, but qualifying in everything. And if you're playing really difficult events and you qualify in everything, it does tend to equal a lot of points, as that's a little bit of a misstep there from Maria Larsson. Just coming a little bit deep. It is still Team Wrana lying three, though. But yeah, just again, a lot of quarterfinals. They've made the quarterfinals at Oakville, Basel, the Tour Challenge, the Co-op Canadian Open, the Saville Grand Prix, but haven't made it past a quarterfinal. Their only DNQ on the season, the Autumn Gold in Calgary. So a good year, no question. You love to be qualifying in events, but for teams that are number 8 in the world, qualifying often is not good enough, or just qualifying is not good enough. They want to do better than that. And so again, just trying to get themselves together here. And that's a really good shot from Elena Mathis. It does leave Wrana lying 4, but getting rid of those two center guards was absolutely crucial, and especially getting rid of the two rocks in the forefoot. So really good shot, but Wrana still in control, lying 4 without the hammer here. So maybe a little deep for Almeida Duval. It does bite, though. Leaves her team lying 5. And a run back called here for Giulia Zardini-Lacidelli. And unfortunately for Zardini, that goes right through the hole. You would have loved to get rid of at least a second yellow there. I know those ones in the back of the 12-foot, you are probably hoping never come into a situation where they count, but even still, you'd love to just kind of get rid of one as a bonus. So you'd love this guard a little bit higher if you're Almeida Duval. So the guard up, and this is actually probably a little too high, unfortunately, for Almeida. You can see there from the camera angle that yellow is completely buried, but I think just with where that guard is, just above that Coyote logo, I think this is easily gettable for Giulia Zardini-Lacidelli. Again, you're not probably trying to take out here, probably looking for a freeze or a small tap to lie shot, but for Duval, just, yeah, couldn't quite get the guard in the right spot. A little too deep on her first, a little too high on her second, but this looks maybe a little light. Romay and Mathis leaning on it. And wow, great sweep from Mathis and Romay, and now whose shot? I don't think it really changes the call. So it will be a freeze here for Isabella Wrana. Trying to now force Constantini. Really good from Isabella. So we don't have the players mic'd up for this. If you speak Italian, I'm sorry that you won't be getting the insight as usual. We do have 2 commentary streams right now, but not 2 sets of player mics. So we will see Soren Gran come out here to have a discussion with his young charges here. It is Constantini lying to 1, but it's in a bit of a precarious spot. So be curious to see for Constantini how they want to try to generate 2 here. This would almost be better for Stefania if this was her last shot rather than her first. Then it's just an easy case of trying to draw the side pin. The thing for Stefania here is if you're coming into the forefoot, you just want to make sure that you never set up a situation where your red can be removed. Right now, if you don't throw at all, I don't know that there's any way that Isabella can remove that red stone on the button without getting rid of, like, without leaving it shot, essentially. So that's the key thing here, is you just want to make sure that you don't leave yourself in danger of giving up a steal, but it's also, there's not a clear 2 here either. And I think that's why they called the timeout, just trying to decipher exactly what that means for them. It's just one of those, it's a very confusing strategy discussion when there's no clear option to set up 2. But you also have to make sure you don't get rid of your 1. Oh. What is this? Maybe she's just getting rid of this one because she thinks it's the only way Isabella can get rid of her redstone. I mean, yeah, probably just trying to hit and maybe roll in front of that situation. I don't mind this. I mean, I think it's really unlikely that Isabella would ever be running one of Constantini's stones into the middle here. Be in a lot of potential danger for not a lot of reward, trying to pick that red clean out of the middle there. Yeah, that's the only thing I can imagine she's doing here. I don't, unless she's trying to maybe just skinny this and then hit the yellow and sit right there. That's the only other thing I can think she's trying here. And so, no, it's just a clear peel. And so now Isabella, I think, just going to try to poke this so that it covers both sides. So just trying to change the angles here to not give Stefania a draw for 2. I don't think that did it. So the other thing Stefania did with that last shot was clear up her draw path, as it was looking like it was going to be a little tougher on the in turn to get a second point. So it took care of both Isabella trying to maybe play a hero run back and also give themselves 2 ways at it for the draw. And so now she is going to take this path for the draw, needs to bite the button for 2. It's a precise shot, but certainly there. So final stone, Stefania Constantini. Piece of the button for 2. Mathis and Romay leaning on this. It's close. It is curling. Does it have the steam to get there? No, it will just nudge that top yellow. And so Isabella Wrana misses a draw for 2 last end, and Stefania Constantini returns the favor here. They lead 2-1.
When you've conquered another game, a long day, a job well done, and the final work call, we're your place. Come as you enjoy casual.
When it comes to the game we love, having the right gear makes all the difference.
Gold Line's new curling shoes and brooms are a game changer.
The shoes, unbelievably comfortable.
And the brooms, lightweight and effective, giving you control on every sweep.
When I step onto the ice, I'm not just prepared, I look sharp.
Have you seen these shoes? They are a game changer.
And the brooms, light as a feather.
It's a Gold Line.
It's a Gold Line.
It's a Gold Line.
And is the choice of champions.
So neither skip able to find that final shot to put a score of 2 on the board. Stefania Constantini coming a little bit short. They lead 2-1. Wrana has the hammer here once again in the 4th. We'll see what they can do with it here. And again, we see Constantini go in, and I wonder if we will see Wrana hit it and delay the corner like she did last time, and indeed she is going to. So this is obviously a clear strategy for Isabella and her team. So I think Team Wrana was looking to roll to the wing, maybe seeing if potentially Constantini would ignore that and throw a center guard maybe. But they do not get that roll, and now we'll see if they delay the corner again. Yes, they do. So sometimes teams do favor this strategy. It's a way to keep a few less rocks in play. Makes the steal a lot harder. But it is a little bit of a defensive strategy. It would have worked for them last end, though, had Isabella not missed that final draw. So corner guard up for Linda Stenlund. Center guard up here for Elena Mathis. Looks like there's enough room here for Maria Larsson to chase. Got to get by this center guard, and it just rubs. And I think they... Oh, no, that's the 6th rock of the end, so can't put that center guard back. I'm not that good at counting. I was an English teacher, not a math teacher. Does open that red rock up a little bit, and again, similar to the first end for Constantini, just a little unfortunate for Maria that rock did not settle on the rings. With the lead, you'd probably see Stefania hit it if that were the case, but it does roll out the back, and this gives her a chance to get another rock behind that center guard. And just keeping you updated on all the other games, we have them all for you here on Home Team Live. It's an all-Korean battle on Sheet D, Sung-Yoon Ha against Eunjung Kim. That's a rematch of last year's Korean semi-final, which Ha won. They ended up losing the Korean final to Gim last year, but it is Kim leading this one 2-1. And but Ha, I believe, just made a hit for at least one, and they're measuring for a second point, so I'll keep you updated once that score goes up. Beside them, it's a battle of the Carries, first and last name. Carrie Anderson against Chelsea Carey. Anderson with 2 in the third. They lead it 2-1. Carey has the hammer playing 4. And in our other feature game with player audio, Tyler George and Brent Lang on the call, it is Brad Guju out to a 5-0 lead against Team Carruthers. We saw Brad manhandle Mark Moskatovitz yesterday, and looks like he's doing the same here to Reed. It is it's tough, a new team for Reed. Kyle Deering in at second and playing against this hostile crowd. It's not always easy, and Brad has been in control the whole time. So yes, they're leading 5-0. That game available for you on Home Team Live, as with all of the other games. And back to our feature game, and Team Wrana taking advantage of that miss from Elena Mathis, coming up short on that draw attempt, putting up another guard by making the hit. This is chaseable, though, for Zardini Lacidelli. And chase it she does. And now with that rock being even higher, it might be tough to get underneath those guards for Almeida Duvall. You're going to have to get pretty close to that center guard. And the problem here for Team Wrana is that if you ever chip that center guard, it's really, really bad for you. So they just have to be careful here not to do that. Don't want to get too aggressive for the chase. So indeed, they don't get aggressive. It's not a ton of weight, though. You want to get that redstone out the back. And Larsson sees it out, and that does get a little bit of an inside roll. So nice shot there from Duvall, though I do think this will be chaseable for Julia still. You can see it there on the camera angle. I would imagine she can probably see about half of it from the hack. The only thing now is there's definitely no chance for her to roll underneath. So the key there for Zardini, just try to roll as far as you can out to the wing so that it makes the hit and roll back for Team Wrana as difficult as possible. And it seems like they have done that there. But certainly this roll is there for Almeida Duvall. And unfortunately for Almeida, it doesn't even stick in the rings here. And so this is an opportunity now for Constantini to set up a steal with those staggered guards. They are a little high. I think even if you make this draw perfectly right to the top of the button, it's probably chaseable, but certainly would be tough if you get it in the right spot. And again, that's been the story for Team Wrana here this afternoon, and we talked about it earlier. They just haven't quite been as exacting as they usually are. Haven't been able to string a few shots together here. First rock, Stefania Constantini needs to get this one into the top 4 buried. Looks like she pulled the string though. And I don't even know if that's going to touch the rings. No, it does not. So that's a real missed opportunity for Stefania Constantini. Not only just to put pressure on Isabella Wrana, but certainly you're probably looking at only giving up a 1 max if you put that rock in the right spot. And now if Isabella can make this draw, you could be looking at a skip's deuce here. And a long delayed update, it was only 1 for Sung Yoon Ha in that 3rd end. So Ha and Kim tied 2-2. Kim with the hammer, they're playing 4. Opportunity here, Isabella Wrana. And this one is also a little bit light. Stenlund and Larsson trying to drag it and maybe just lost it a little bit there as that settles into just biting the top 8 foot. But still in a good spot. Constantini does have the short run if she wants it, or she can draw around everything. The thing is, drawing around everything is a potential steal, but it's a really easy slash, and then you're probably leaving the shooter right there and you're only giving up 1. I like this call. I like being aggressive for it. It just does bring 2 into play. Obviously, a miss brings 2 into play, but even a make, there might be a potential 2 with a chase. And Stefania's draw weight hasn't been great. Looks like she's maybe reconsidering now that she's slid down to the other end. Yeah, she indeed is looking at the slash here. I don't mind the draw either. I just do think that Stefania hasn't been great with her draw weight. We saw her come up light in the 2nd end. We saw her come up light in the 1st end, and she came up light in her first one here in the 4th. So this is certainly the safe call, and like I say, it's not even, oftentimes you'll see something like this leading to a blank. In this case, if you plant this behind those guards, it's probably a force, so I don't mind the call. Final stone, Stefania Constantini. Short little slash takeout. Elena Mathis on this, though. And she got close to going over the top of it, but does make it, though I think this has come enough into the open that, oh yeah, for sure Isabella Wrana will have this for a blank. Just looked like maybe Stefania set that one a little bit, and we heard Nicholas Sedin earlier on the broadcast say that if you set it at all, it's really difficult to get it to come back. So Blank attempt for Isabella Wrana. It's not easy, but certainly you'd expect her to make it. Calls Linda Stenlund on this right away, though. Looked like she slid tight. And will it jam? It will just miss the back one. I think she was a little nervous that she was getting the guard into play there, but makes the blank. The score will stay 2-1. We'll take a 3-minute break.
When you've conquered another game, a long day, a job well done, and the final work call, where your eat locally, enjoy casually.
When it comes to the game we love, having the right gear makes all the difference.
Gold Line's new curling shoes and brooms are a game changer.
The shoes, unbelievably comfortable.
And the brooms, lightweight and effective, giving you control on every sweep.
When I step onto the ice, I'm not just prepared, I look sharp.
Have you seen these shoes? They are a game changer.
And the brooms, light as a feather.
It's a Gold Line.
It's a Gold Line.
It's a Gold Line.
And is the choice of champions.
When you've conquered another game, enjoy casually.
This is the Cornwall Curling Club. It's my home club. I started curling here when I was 7 years old. I decided to stick with curling because I really enjoyed the small team environment. I curled with the same girls from the time I was 9, basically until the end of juniors. So getting to form those friendships with my teammates was really special to me.
I started curling because of my grandparents, and both my parents curled and my brother, so it was just like a whole family thing. And when you walk into the curling club in Truro, Nova Scotia, and everyone greets you, and it's such a warm environment, and it's fun. After school, we'd go, and all of our friends would be there, so it was just like such a fun environment. And I got to curl with some of my closest friends growing up, so it really helped me keep in the game, and we all had the same goals.
I know what curling has done for our family, the opportunities it provided for both my girls. Nationally, you know, we've got to see travel the world. It's just a great sport. It's a small community. People, you know, at all levels, everybody knows each other. That's what, it's kind of a unique sport that way.
It's a sport that enables him to build his confidence and to make friends while doing something that he really enjoys.
Right now at the age that they're at, it's just awesome to see when they come here and they see their friends at the curling club and the stuff they do off the ice too, and smiles and hanging out and just enjoying their time with friends.
Hello, curling fans, and welcome back inside the Mary Brown Center here in St. John's, Newfoundland and Labrador for this third Grand Slam of curling event of the season, the KIOTI National. John Cullen here with you for this Draw 7 action. Team Isabella Wrana up against Team Stefania Constantini, and it's been a bit of a cagey back and forth battle here. There's been opportunities on both sides. There's been some makes, some misses, and after a somewhat dodgy blank attempt by Isabella in the fourth end, we have a 2-1 lead for Constantini. Wrana with the hammer here in the fifth end. Both these teams sitting at 0-1, looking for the all-important victory here. Certainly, as we know in these slams, you do not want to fall to 0-2. That means you have to win out, and you need your last stone draw to be really good. So we see Stefania switching up the strategy this end. In the past ends, they were throwing up a center guard throwing a rock into the forefoot, and then Isabella was hitting it. So here we do see them throw up the center guard and then a double center. They were potentially trying to freeze there, I'm not sure, but in any event, the double center is up. Team Wrana lying one here. And just, I think, a slight touch of that red stone for Linda Stenlund, but that's a pretty good result, I think. They would have liked to come around everything, but it's not bad there. Might be a double here, though, I think. Yeah, it definitely is a double, looking at my camera angle here for Elena Mathis. If they want to try it, seems like maybe Julia doesn't love the call. Maybe favoring the freeze on top instead. I think if you're up one, I don't hate the double. Yes, it allows Isabella to draw around everything after you make it, but I don't mind it. Definitely has to be made, though. You don't want to hit this too thin and leave one of those yellow stones in the top of the house. Got to get that yellow out. Got to get that yellow out. Got to get that yellow out. Oh, does it spin back? What a great sweep from Angela Romay. I think that's out. I'd need to see the overhead. Yeah, it does look like it's out. That's close, though, but I think it is. Just about as close as you could get. Have heard from the curlers, the rocks are fairly dead, and when we say that, it just means they don't spin out of the rings maybe quite as easily as you'd expect, especially on arena ice where the houses themselves tend to be pretty lively. And you could see just with how much spin that stone had on it, it really just wanted to hang around the house, but I do think they maybe got it out. Doesn't change the call in any case for Maria Larsson here, but needs to come around everything, and this is light and all over the center guard. That's an unfortunate mistake. Now, even if you believe that yellow is on, and again, our camera angles are not perfect, very possible that that yellow is on, but even if it is, now that red is out counting it. So that's a little deep from Elena Mathis there, but I think we're going to see a double run back here for Larsson. We know she's got this in her locker, made a phenomenal takeout earlier. 1, 2, oh, that was close to the worst case scenario, as she unfortunately leaves her yellow up as a center guard and moves that red stone into the forefoot. The only positives there for Team Wrana are that that yellow rock is high and that red stone is not completely covering the button area. So they're coming right in here, you know, and I think that's just because of what I talked about earlier, that the button would have been wide open. So if you throw the guard, it would have been a chance for Wrana to come around everything there. So I like that shot. Effectively completely blocks off the button area. Constantini lying 3 without hand. Well, that was the worst case scenario for Almeida Duval. Feather ticks. That yellow guard goes by everything. And now if you are Team Wrana, you are in big trouble. This is a little reminiscent of the first end, except the roles were reversed. Constantini was fighting for her life there, was lucky to end up getting one. We'll see if the same fate can be determined here for Wrana, because this is, yeah, not looking like a great setup at the moment. Guard going up for Zardini Lacidelli. I want to get this one tight, though. It's decent. They definitely would have liked it deeper. They're going to play the run back anyway. So, mission accomplished for Zardini Lacidelli. And this is not easy. This is probably a 15-foot run back for Almeida Duval, trying to get, you heard Isabella say either of the reds would be fine. You could double off the 2 reds at the top of the house. You could get rid of maybe the one, or top of the forefoot, the one at the back of the forefoot. Oh, they're actually playing the double peel, my bad. And the double peel made. So nice shot there from Almeida Duval, opens it up, but Constantini still lying 3. So you do have to get this guard in a good spot if you are Stefania. Because Isabella will have a few options. That's really good. I like getting that one tight. You also now lie 4. I mean, that's not going to matter a ton, but it does make Isabella's run back easier. But if you had left the guard high, she would have had a shot at a double probably either way. So I like this. So that O you heard was because Carrie Anderson stole 2 in the 4th. She's leading Chelsea Carey 4-1, but just gassed a draw almost through the rings, and Chelsea Carey will have an open draw for 3 to tie the game. And in our feature game, Isabella Wrana looking for a triple here, throwing the gun, the Swedish missile. And how about that? 1, 2, 3. Does she have the 4th? Oh my gosh, almost a quad, but what a shot from Isabella Wrana. That end was looking like pure disaster. Makes an absolutely phenomenal shot to potentially get herself out of it. My goodness. So still an opportunity for a steal here, believe it or not, for Stefania Constantini. Isabella Wrana making a triple and a roll of the 4th out of the 4-foot area on her first stone. But if Stefania can make this one good, it's still a really good situation for her. Don't want to go too deep here, though. And wow, just again, Constantini just hasn't been precise with her draw weight today. Has been a little light at times there. She's a little bit heavy, and Isabella Wrana will have the entire button to draw 2 for 1. So again, it was a very similar situation to the first end where Constantini was facing 4, ended up getting let off the hook by Isabella, and in this case, Stefania letting Isabella off the hook. But Isabella still has to make this. You need to draw a piece of the button for 1. Final stone. Linda Stenlund on it early. Looks pretty close. Might need this one to slow down. Need it to slow down. And they just overcooked it a little bit on the sweep. Maybe it wasn't there to begin with. They might have been able to sweep that onto the backing. I'm not sure, but Constantini will steal 1 and take a 3-1 lead.
When you've conquered eat locally, enjoy casual.
So in the grand scheme of things, Stefania Constantini probably deserved to steal 1 in that end. Isabella Wrana chasing the entire time. but did have the escape valve. Unfortunately, couldn't release it in time, just having her draw slide a hair deep. And so it's now Constantini and her team from Cortina d'Ampezzo leading by 2. Certainly for Wrana here, though, no panic. They're not in panic mode here. You're got the hammer in 6. You score 2 here, tie the game up, force Constantini to 1. And maybe for the first time ever in the Mary Brown Center, it's applause for a shot made by another team. Reed Carruthers making an absolutely phenomenal angle run double for 2. And even the crowd here in St. John's begrudgingly accepting that that was a well-made shot by Reed Carruthers. So in our feature game, Constantini did put the rock in the house to start, which makes sense up 2, and it does make sense that Wrana changes their strategy a little bit and throws a corner guard. Pardon me. So center guard and rock in the 4-foot up for Angela Romay and Team Constantini. We'll see if Linda Stenlund can make the freeze here. Coming up just a hair short there for Linda. And just a reminder, the Grand Slam of Curling is a project partner with the Curling Cares calendar, the 2025 edition, available now. Carly Burgess, the cover model, out on the ice right now, playing for Team Chelsea Carey. Calendar features a bunch of top athletes from across the curling world, has been a boon to charities across the curling world as well. Selena Negevin also in the calendar. And the nice part about the calendar is all the charities are selected by the curlers themselves, so any calendars they are directly responsible for selling, and part of the proceeds overall go to their specific charity. So in Selena's case, she has some severe allergies. So does her son Hudson. I almost said her son husband. No, husband is Connor Negevin, who is out here right now playing for Reed Carruthers. But they've raised over $850,000 over the years for the Curling Cares calendar, and you can get yours now, available at curlingcares.com. So in a different situation, you may see Maria Larsson asked to double peel these 2 red center guards, especially given that they're staggered, but they need to generate 2 points here, does Team Wrana, so they're ignoring that situation in the middle, drawing around the corner here. And that's very nice from Larsson. So it looks like Elena Mathis can see enough of this Yellowstone to chase it. throwing quite a bit of weight here. Usually with a chase, you'd see something a little less. Oh, never mind. They're playing the run back. My apologies. And a great shot there from Elena. Where I'm sitting in the broadcast booth, I'm not directly behind the sheet, so it's tough to tell exactly what the goal of that shot was, but that's a very well-made shot by Elena, especially with where that red one rolled, acting as another guard for their shot stone on the button. So this is going to now force the peel out of Larsson. And I think there's a way you can get rid of all three of these, 2 for sure. You know that Larsson can throw quite a bit of weight. Oh, it doesn't look like she's throwing a ton here. Okay, I think actually what they're playing here is maybe they're trying to roll off of this. And yeah, so they leave that red one maybe as a potential in-off candidate in that 12-foot. And 2 guards still up in the middle. Guard up for Zardini Lacidelli, and now this strategy from Wrana may be paying off. She's going to try the in-off here. You might see in a different situation saving this in-off, but they're probably worried if they play a double peel that at some point maybe, well, again, it's Constantini's own rock. They probably wouldn't try to kill it themselves, but you might see this one saved. You might see the double peel called. You assume that Constantini would then throw the guard back up. So this is interesting, maybe a little early, but if it's made, it's great. The problem is if you don't make it, you're leaving 3 guards up and Constantini lying 1 buried. So this is close to a must make here for Duvall, and she does not have it. Hits it just a hair too thin. And for Constantini, this is starting to look like the Great Wall of Venice here. And these high guards, not super easy to throw always. We've talked about that on stream, especially for thirds. They're not easy for anyone, but leads throw them a lot of the time. Thirds, it's a tough shot because you never want to hog it, but you also don't want to be too deep. But Julia, as we talked about earlier in the broadcast, has been playing lead for Constantini for most of the season. So it might be a shot that she is maybe just a little bit more familiar with. So for Team Wrana, this is just a really tough situation. You're at very minimum 2 stones away from getting at the shot stone. Okay, never mind. Or you just do that. What a shot from Almeida Duvall. I didn't even think that was there. I'm in the middle of saying you can't get to shot stone, and then 2 seconds later they get to it. What a shot from Almeida Duvall. It's like the reverse version of the commentator's curse. I just cursed myself and sounded like a moron. So what a shot there. I just thought from the angle I was sitting at that the rocks were a little too staggered to get at the one in the rings. So it is Wrana lying one now, and they've got a great angle there, completely dead buried behind 3 guards. So what a shot from Duvall. So for the first time this end, Stefania Constantini on the chase. Trying to draw down to that Wrana stone here with her first. Has not been great on her draws today. See if she can find it here. She's immediately indicating it's heavy out of her hand, pointing up to the sky. Problem is, not only is it heavy, but it's still on the corner guard. Angela Romay trying to bring it off, and maybe that was a case of being heavy. We have also seen Stefania just get a little bit in-out with her out turns. Maybe did that there, and this game, it seems like every setup doesn't actually result in what's going to happen, because now Isabella Wrana is actually looking set up for 3 here. You actually want to be in trouble in this game. The more trouble you're in, the better chance you have of scoring in the end, apparently. Isabella Wrana chasing all end, never looked like even scoring 2, and now if she makes a great hit and roll here, she could be setting up for a 3. So this is a huge shot here now for Isabella Wrana. The roll is critical. Linda Stenlund trying to bring it over to get it, and unfortunately just on the nose. The double is not easy. It's really, really steep, so not even going to see Stefania chase it. Her initial call was just to hit and roll, but then that would give Isabella most of the house to draw at. Yes, she'd have to go into the wings. Yeah, you can't give up more than 2 here, so I don't mind this. The problem for her is if you try to draw around everything, it's a path you don't know, and if you come up short, which is usually what happens in a path you don't know, obviously if you come up heavy, that's disaster also, but if you come up short, you're giving up 3. So I like the hit call. I think actually if you roll this just to kind of half buried, that's perfect. If you don't roll at all, you'll see Isabella just hit right back. But I think if you can roll sort of half buried, it cuts off this draw through the port, this out-turn draw through the port. And it would force Isabella to go wide on either turn. So shot a little more crucial than you think. You're just trying to limit the damage, but if you can get the right roll here, you force Isabella into a tougher shot for 2. But she does just stick right there, and so I think we will see Isabella hit here. Again, she is lying 1. I think if you knew the outer paths a little better, if maybe they had been played in a previous end, you would see a draw here. But certainly given this scenario, this is the much easier shot. And a good look at it there, absolutely wide open from the hack for Isabella, and you just saw Stefania make it. So Almeida Duvall making a tremendous triple angle run back, setting up this open hit for two. Final stone, Isabella Wrana. And that is as cool as you like for the skip from Sundbyberg. So they will put two up on the board. We're all tied up at 3, 7th end incoming. Don't go anywhere.
I've stood at the pinnacle of curling and battled in the most intense games.
Out on the ice, there's no room for compromise.
And when the pressure's on,
every millimeter counts.
It's not just a game.
It's about maximizing performance,
pushing limits,
seizing victory.
When victory hangs in the balance,
I know what I'm relying on.
It's a gold line.
It's a gold line.
It's a gold line.
And it's the choice of champions.
When you've conquered a enjoy casual.
Well, we've got ourselves a game here. As we said, heading into break, I guess I'm so used to saying we because I generally have a partner here, but as I said, heading into break, just a tremendous shot from Almeida Duvall, a triple angle run back. Stuck it behind cover. That rock counts. The final Isabella Wrana stone counts, and we've got a 3-3 tie here in this women's draw 7 action. Stefania Constantini, Isabella Wrana, both trying to find their first win here. Center guard up for Linda Stenlund, and Angela Romay going to come around here. Any slam team will tell you getting a win before you get your second loss is so critical in these tournaments. You want to try to be in as few must-win games as possible. Obviously at the slams it's a short round robin, only 4 games, so every game has a feel of close to a must-win, but if you get to 2 losses, your final 2 games are must-win without question. Can't afford a 3rd loss or you're done. And so for these teams, I know I've brought it up a couple times, but that's just because it is so critical. And if you were paying attention to the Grand Slam of Curling social media today, you may have seen this tournament also the debut of the Goo Shoes. Brad Gushu, I think, becoming the first curling athlete ever to have their own signature shoe that's at least not a curling shoe, but is rather a running shoe, available exclusively at the Mary Brown Center this week. We'll see if they do end up being available online later, but if you're anywhere in the area, you're a Brad Gushu fan, they did a phenomenal job designing those shoes. I may or may not have got a pair myself. Okay, I did. I got my own pair. But you can definitely check out all of the great new apparel the Grand Slam of Curling has at the rockshop.net. Tons of amazing options. We have some other Brad Gushu specific items, home and Empire gear, and all your favorite Grand Slam of Curling gear as well. Cannot remove this Yellowstone from the center line, and unfortunately for Angela Romay, she does. And so that's an error. That's an error there, and a chance now for Team Wrana to really apply some pressure. So just a freeze or small tap here for Maria Rachon. Oh no. That's not ideal. Trying to get rid of the Yellowstones in the house, only get rid of their own, and now it's a Trey Kroner in the house for Team Wrana. And a chance to get a second guard up too, so again, though, we have seen in this game, if you start the end poorly, it's probably going to end good for you. So this is positive, maybe, if you're Team Constantini. And that was the shot they were looking for on the previous one. Elena Mathis, double run back, kills one of the Wrana Stones. Another great shot. We've seen some really good up weight shots from both teams. And even in that case from Elena Mathis, didn't throw a gun there, but really, really nice shot. It does, or it will leave Team Wrana likely lying 3 after this Almeida Duval stone. However, it takes away the potential steal, at least most likely. So there might be a triple here for Giulia Zardini-Lacidelli, certainly double. She's not throwing a ton of weight. And again, we did see this from the Italian team yesterday as well. I don't know if this is a new strategy they're trying out or what, because they do have the up weight in their locker, but we have seen on shots where you maybe would see a team throw a little bit more weight, we have seen them pull back a bit, and that, oh my gosh. What a shot from Zardini-Lacidelli. Again, I feel like I'm just cursing myself up here because I probably would have thrown a gun at that, tried to make the double. Maybe you get all 3 of them. Instead, you throw just like a normal weight hit to absolutely perfect freeze. My goodness, what a shot from Giulia Zardini-Lacidelli. Incredible. The shot making hasn't been necessarily consistent in this game, but this game has featured some of the best shots we've seen all week. Almeida Duval's triple angle run back. We had Isabella Wrana make almost a quad. And then now that shot from Zardini-Lacidelli, absolutely top tier shot making. So a little discussion. We don't have the players mic'd up since this is the secondary stream. I think just deciding what they wanted to do here. I don't mind. I think what they've maybe settled on is hitting this one right on the nose. You lose your yellow out the back, but you sit right on top of it. I think initially they were talking about like a little tap back, but I think this is probably the best case scenario. Even if you just kind of roll off the nose, it's likely that Constantini is grouping their stones and you have a double back with your next one. So I like this call, and obviously if you get it dead nose, you're in really good shape. Linda Stenlund on this right out of the hand. Not throwing a ton of weight at this. So they just missed the nose of it. Constantini lies one. So they're just discussing here what to do. You could just draw open side as long as you're kind of biting the forefoot. You just can't leave a double. So you could draw, and then you just have to be second shot wherever you draw to. They're going to hit here instead, and I don't mind that either. You probably want to limit the number of Wrana stones you might be facing with your last shot, potentially if you're Constantini. Plus, this accomplishes a lot of the same goals that a draw would. So you want to just try to get as much separation between these two stones as you possibly can without leaving a double. And that's a pretty good plan B. I don't think that's what they were trying, but they do end up getting rid of the back yellow Wrana stone and sitting for two. Doubles there for Isabella. It's not super easy, but if you make it, you're almost certainly forcing. So this is important for Isabella. You make this, you almost certainly get a force, but you miss it and you're almost certainly giving up two. So a big shot here. Linda Stenlund on it all the way, and I think this is over curling. And indeed it is. So still Constantini, no, not lying the one. Wrana is lying the one. But as I said, I think if you're Team Constantini, you're looking pretty good for two here. First stone in 7, Stefania Constantini. looking to lie two. Mathis trying to bring this over. You have that catcher there, but I think your third shot. So a slight mistake. Again, if you're Wrana, you can chase the double here, which is what she's looking at, but you could also just hit that back red, lie two. Yeah, I think Maria Larchon pointing out, like, hey, we're second shot. Don't have to chase the double when we're second shots. Sometimes the front end comes through. I mean, obviously this, depending on where you roll, you could leave a double, but yeah, I thought it was interesting from Constantini. They kind of indicated that they could roll to where they rolled to. It looked like Stefania sort of indicated to Julia, hey, you know, we can just roll and catch onto this yellow one. And I always kind of thought that was going to leave Wrano's second shot. So very interesting. I don't know if I agreed with her strategy. Maybe she's just thinking no matter where Isabella ends up here, there's a double, but I don't think it's a double for two. I think you're almost always losing your shooter, especially if Isabella can roll this a little bit to the middle. So maybe just a little bit of a amateur mistake from Stefania there. In any case, Wrana has to capitalize, can't roll out here. That's about exactly where they wanted it. Yeah, I don't think there's any way that Constantini can make the double here and stick around for two. She's looking at it, but I think it's really hard. And as you might imagine from the cheers from the crowd, we have our first final here as Brad Gujou defeats Reed Carruthers 6-3. That'll move Brad Gujou to 2-0. Carruthers will drop to 0-2. And the crowd here at the Mary Brown Center loves it. We'll see if Stefania Constantini can use this energy to propel her to a double takeout here. But I can't tell if she's throwing the double or just the hit and roll in off this top one. I think she is trying the double, but you have to play this really quiet. You can't really roll at all. I don't think that this is there. No, it'll go right by, and so it's a steal of one for Isabella Wrana. They will take a 4-3 lead into the eighth. Don't go anywhere.
When it comes to the game we love, having the right gear makes all the difference.
Gold Line's new curling shoes and brooms are a game changer.
The shoes, unbelievably comfortable.
And the brooms, lightweight and effective, giving you control on every sweep.
When I step onto the ice, I'm not just prepared, I look sharp.
Have you seen these shoes? They are a game changer.
And the brooms, light as a feather.
It's a Gold Line.
It's a Gold Line.
It's a Gold Line.
And is the choice of champions.
So with Brad Gujou having won his game, we are seeing some of the fans file out of the building here at the Mary Brown Center. But if they do that, they're going to be missing a great finish here, no doubt, between Isabella Wrana and Stefania Constantini. This has been a well-played game from both teams. A few misses, but a few absolutely phenomenal shots. And we are going to have ourselves a real tight battle here at the end. Constantini with the hammer here in end number 8. Both these teams searching for their first win here at the Coyote National. And the crowd giving a nice round of applause to Reed Carruthers after booing them mercilessly for most of the game. So the center guard up for Isabella Wrana, and we are going to see the corner guard here for Constantini. Would love to take care of business here and just get to and end it. Linda Stenlund now going to come around the center guard here. Yeah, that's a very nice shot. Linda's had a great game here today, very consistent. So Sung-Yoon Ha looking for the blank in end 7. Couldn't find it. Gives up a steal of 1 to Eunjung Kim. Kim leading that one 6-4. In the other game left remaining, it was Carrie Anerson having a potential run back for 5 in the 7th end. Just missed it. Settled for 1. So she leads Chelsea Carey 5-4. Carey has the hammer in their game, playing 8. Both those games available on Home Team Live as well. So nice shot there from Angela Romay, who has also had a nice game. It's been a well-played game at the lead position for both teams. I'm always curious about this. We'll see how long it takes Brad Gushue to get off the ice surface here tonight. He's signing autographs, taking pictures. The lineup near the player end, the home end of the rink, is pretty vast. I have a feeling he might be out here for an hour. Freeze called here for Maria Larsson. Unfortunately, that just rubs the center guard. I don't know if that was the call. Maybe they thought that it was a little heavy because they didn't really sweep it. They didn't seem too concerned about it hitting the center guard, but it does rub it, and that rolls to just a really bad spot. Double here is makeable for Elena Mathis. Yeah, just I don't know, very odd. They seemed really calm about that. It didn't look like it picked or anything. So yeah, maybe they just thought it had too much weight. They were nervous it was going to chap off the red one anyway, but not a great situation for Team Wrana at the moment, especially if Elena Mathis makes this one. So gets one, but misses the back one. Perhaps a little fortunate for Team Wrana there. This will also leave the double for Maria Larsson. Reminder that we will be back tonight in just under 2 hours' time, 8 p.m. local time here in Newfoundland. That's 6:30 p.m. Eastern time, 3:30 p.m. Pacific. We'll have 2 games for you again this evening. It'll be Matt Dunstone facing off against Nicholas Adine and Bruce Mowat facing off against John Schuster. believe we'll have some guests in the booth this evening as well. I think Mike McEwen will be joining us. And that's a well-made shot there from Larsson. Wrana lies 1. And Mike McEwen will be joining me, and Chelsea Carey will be joining Tyler George. So going to be 2 great games again tonight. You won't want to miss it. Home Team Live for all your coverage of the Grand Slam of curling all week and all year long. Another important shot here for Elena Mathis. Again, that Linda Stenlund stone is in such a good spot. And that's a really well-made shot by Mathis. Pokes that Wrana stone just behind the tee line. So another freeze called for Almeida Duval here. You got to get by that center guard, though. Larsson and Stenlund leaning on it, but it just does not have the weight. Crashes on the center. That's not a horrible result. You are still lying shot, but was not ideal. Run back now for Zardini Lacidelli, and as is the Italians' want here, they are not humming it, just a kind of a control weight run back here. Oh, actually, maybe they were trying the hole and roll. Did get both yellows, though. Does leave a center guard. I will tell you this, no better screamers on the ice than the South Koreans. All 3 teams, Ha, Kim, and Gim, boy, they can shriek with the best of them. Kyung-Ae Kim just had an absolute belter on the sheet below me. I'm up in the broadcast booth, and it gave me a shock. So for Almeida Duval, it was trying to freeze again, just nicking that center guard, and this is not been the best end for Team Wrana, but they're not in dire straits. Of course, if a double is made here by Julia, then I might change my tune. There's not a ton of time left here for Constantini. They're at 2.5 minutes with 1 timeout. And they are indeed going to take the timeout here. I think that's not a bad idea. Bring out head coach Soren Gran. So you could chase the double here, but you don't have to if you're Constantini. I actually don't mind. They're kind of indicating here maybe you make a hit and roll and just leave your shooter as a counter, a kicker, if you will, and then that gives you maybe a little bit more flexibility with a later run back. I certainly don't mind that if that's what they decide to do. I also don't mind getting rid of the center. It is a Team Constantini stone, but I think if there was a way you could get rid of it and even maybe keep it in the house, that would be pretty good. I'm thinking like maybe you chop it into that yellow one. I think that is indeed what they're deciding. Chop it into the yellow and sit in the house. I think that's a pretty good result if you can do that. The key is just not to get too cute with it. You got to make sure you get rid of it off the center. But I think if you could ever chop it into that yellow, you're going to like that result quite a bit. Zardini Laciadelli, again, not throwing a ton of weight here. Angle, takeout, and roll. Sounds close. They're on and off. Oh, if you could ever line it up. Oh, that's really, really good from Zardini Laciadelli. Great touch. And that lemon is starting to feel just a little bit lonely. So timeout called here for Team Wrana. And their coach Vincent Stenberg will come out for a conversation. The problem for Wrana here is none of your options are particularly great. You're almost always giving up one here, which is fine. You'd take the hammer going into an extra end, but you could also give up two. I'm not sure what they're doing here. I would have thought, it's not easy, but I would have thought maybe you'd see them just chase the blast here. It is really hard. So yeah, I'm curious to see with that broom placement. I don't know if they're just trying to get rid of that top red and roll, and then they figure if Constantini makes a play on the middle, they'll have something back. Well, they're throwing quite a bit of weight here. So maybe they are trying to get rid of both these reds if they can. One, okay, no, just to pick off the top. So that was the call. Now you assume Constantini has to make some sort of play on this, and you hope she leaves you a double. Again, Constantini doesn't have a ton of time here. They're now down to 2 minutes with no timeouts. We saw last night Stefania ending up with about 8 seconds left when she threw by the time she threw her last one. So I don't mind this either. You could get cute here and just play kind of like a little tap. Leave yourself first shot and then kind of dare Isabella to guard. And if she ever doesn't make the guard, you win. And you win easy. But the problem with that is if you don't make that, if you don't tap it far enough, then Isabella's guarding for the win. And again, they might still be tapping, but I'm guessing with this ice, the plan is to essentially remove the Yellowstone. Well, it's not a ton of weight. So maybe not completely remove it from the house, but try to be shot 1 and 2 and force Isabella to make a double. I guess that would have been exactly what they called, and the double is certainly there for Isabella. It's a little thin, but it's pretty makeable. I don't think there's any hole there. So just as long as you don't hit that top red one too thick, you make it. I think you almost can't hit it too thin. I think Stefania probably rolled to the spot that makes this double the hardest, but I think this is certainly a shot we would expect Isabella to make, but it is a shot she has to make. Final stone. Calling Stenlund on right away. Again, you can't hit this top red too thick. Can't hit it too thick. And she does not. Great shot from Isabella Wrana. And it looks like we're heading for some bonus curling here. Other than the dodgy first end for Constantini and the dodgy fifth end for Wrana, this has been a very well played game, and probably fitting that we are likely heading for an extra. Final stone, Stefania Constantini just needs to hit paint for one. And hit paint she does. So we are heading for an extra end. Isabella Wrana will have the hammer. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
When you've conquered another game, a long day, a job well done, and the final work call, we're your place. Come as you enjoy casual.
So welcome back, curling fans. Extra end here at the Coyote National. Team Stefania Constantini against Team Isabella Wrana. Both teams sitting at 0-1 and looking for their first win. You do not want this center guard off of the center line, and indeed it is, but Isabella Wrana doesn't even consider the tick. You might see teams in another situation see that miss of the center line as an opportunity to tick, but Linda Stenlund going to come in the house here, and that applause you're hearing is for the South Korean teams leaving the ice in that all South Korean battle. It was Team Kim defeating Team Ha 6-4. So that will improve Kim to 2-0 and will drop Ha to 1-1. And the only other game remaining out here, it's Carrie Anerson against Chelsea Carey. Chelsea getting ready to throw her last stone here. And it is looking like she's playing, I can't even tell, some kind of in-off to score one. And she made it, I think. Yeah, tremendous shot from Chelsea Carey there. It was kind of a little skinny in-off around some center guards. Really well made. And that game is also going to an extra end, so I will keep you posted on that Anerson-Carey battle as well. Of course, that game is available on a home stream live too, or home team live. And again, Linda Stenlund just absolute dynamite draw weight today. She's been full button or top button on basically every shot. Two center guards are up for Constantini, and now maybe we are going to see the tick attempted here. I like that, actually. I like getting your first one in and then trying the tick, knowing that you have that good first stone in play. And that is really good from Linda Stenlund. Makes the perfect tick, and she's had a phenomenal game tonight. So I would have thought potentially another center guard here. Kind of looked like maybe they were trying to freeze, and then it just came too short. I'm not sure. In any case, that's a terrible result for Team Constantini. Makes the double peel very simple for Maria Larsson, and she's been so good at these upweight shots all day today. Really well done from Larsson. Wrana lying one, and this is, yeah, certainly not a tremendous steal situation for Stefania Constantini. And that guard is really high. I know if you're Wrana, you want to peel it. And I don't mind the high guard just because you do have those corner guards for, you know, a potential miss here where maybe you run it into one of the corner guards and it rolls into the middle. But, yeah, certainly not too much of a concern for Larsson here. And no trouble. And this is never a good sign when you're on third stones and you are resorting to a dead freeze on a rock in the house if you're the team without the hammer and you have to steal. But it just missing that center line for Angela Romay and then Linda Stenlund making the tick. It's could be all that Team Wrana needs to win here. It's just a hair heavy from Julia Zardini-Lacidelli, but that might actually be a little bit better than the perfect freeze in that situation. I think if you're Almeida Duval here, you actually don't mind losing your back yellow. If you make this, then if you just make this pick, then the dead freeze for Constantini's right on the button. I just think for Team Wrana, they're so good at the up-weight shots up and down the lineup. They're just a tough team to steal against in an extra end scenario. And so I just think for Isabella, she's just really not worried about any type of dead freeze situation. Although I'm a little surprised. That one was well thrown and close enough that they probably could have gotten rid of that back yellow. But in any event, as I say, still a very good setup for the team from Sundbyberg. And regardless, you need a dead freeze perfectly on the nose to make any sort of difference here. Weight was really good from Zardini-Lacidelli, but just over curls slightly and ends up half a foot short. And now I think for sure you'll see Duval take out that back yellow. The only thing is that this might mean that Isabella will have to draw the 4-foot for the win. And of course, that's not a huge concern for a skip, but we haven't seen Isabella throw a ton of draws. That might be part of the reason why she didn't get too aggressive in getting rid of this back yellow on her first, or on Almeida's first, rather. But both of those stones go, and this is pretty much the dream setup for Team Wrana here in an extra with the hammer. There is really not a lot of places for Stefania Constantini to generate a steal, anywhere for her to hide. They're going to call a timeout for Soren Gran, but really your options are dead freeze on the one that's in the house or draw around the corner guards. If you draw around the corner guards, you probably have to get shot stone. So just unfortunately, just not a great situation here for Team Constantini no matter what. So as we said, you can call a timeout. You can stare at the house for as long as you want to. There just isn't a great option here for Stefania Constantini. It looks like they have decided to draw around the corner guard. I think that's their best option. The freeze doesn't do a ton for you. Really, the call for the freeze is if you ever think that Isabella can't make the draw. You'd make the freeze, she would blast, then you would draw around the corner guards, presuming that you freeze in a spot where she would have to lose her shooter as well. And then she just has a draw to the forefoot for the win. If you draw around there now, you give Isabella the choice of whether she wants to maybe peel the guard, then you probably freeze to that one, and then she has a choice of hitting on her last one, or she could decide to maybe chase it. I think it's probably pretty unlikely that she chases. The thing here too is you probably want to get shot stone. If you don't get shot stone here, then Isabella can just lie two somewhere in the rings and you're probably drawing dead. So this looks light. Yeah, that's, I don't think, going to help Team Constantini too much. Yeah, it is light, not shot, and almost wide open. So just, I think, had the right line. I think if it had a little bit more weight, it probably buries in there perfectly, but you can see from that angle, I think Isabella is going to be able to see more than half of that from the hack. Probably close to almost all of it, 75% for sure. So easily chaseable here for Isabella. First stone, Isabella Wrana here in the extra end. And it has been all one-way traffic. Most of the ends have been pretty up and down, but this one has been all sweet and all the time. And they look to continue it here. Just a little hit and roll. Yeah, that's really good from Isabella. There's just no good option here for Stefania at all. With where that one rolled to, now that that rock's in the forefoot, Stefania doesn't have the option of drawing around. If she drew around the corner guards and was buried, she wouldn't be shot. So she almost certainly has to make a play on this yellow one, and you have to be shot, so you can't freeze. I think with where that one has ended up, you'd have to be on the corner of it, and Isabella would always be able to get rid of it, and has now that yellow kicker in the 12-foot. And so I think realistically, you just play this small tap and you pray. Final stone in the extra for Stefania Constantini, and even in an extra end, she manages to use almost all of her time. Throwing this one with under 30 seconds left, that's tough to do in an extra end, especially one that hasn't been particularly straining strategy-wise, but in any event, a small tap here needs to be made. Have to be shot, or this game is over. This is not a ton of weight. Sweepers are very casual with this, but you need a small tap on that line. And did it move it far enough? I don't think it did. I mean, again, we're just looking at the camera angle. I think Isabella is certainly not going to leave this to chance, but at least from our angle, it looked like it was yellow. You can see there. So timeout called for Wrana, and I think it's really just a case of maybe looking at it closer to see if you're shot. I mean, again, you have the kicker in the back, so this is just, you chip this off anywhere, you're good. I guess the only thing, and I don't want to curse myself because I do at the end of the day like myself, and I'd rather not call a 10th end of this game, but there is a possibility that you could double blank this. It's very, or not double blank, but you double extra this. That if you hit this a little bit too high side, you could get rid of all the stones and lose your shooter. But for Isabella Wrana, throws this weight so well. Her final stone just needs to get rid of this red. And she will make no mistake. And so 2 will go on the board for Isabella Wrana, and so will a W. 6-4 winners. And that cheer you hear is Carrie Anderson also winning her game over Chelsea Carey 7-5. Everyone's a winner out here tonight except for the teams that lost. I'm John Cullen. Thank you so much for joining us. We will be back here in an hour and 20 minutes time. Hope you'll join us here on Home Team Live. For everyone here, I've been John. Good night.
Curling fans, that wraps up draw number 7 here at the Coyote National. Be sure to head